Good afternoon. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show where truth matters. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, from 1 to 3 p.m. Central, as I get to ride home with you in the afternoon. The show begins at 1 p.m. Central Time. You can find us on the radio at iacradio.media. I'm proud to say we are Fox News affiliates, and we do appreciate that happening. Also, wanted to thank Dave for making that happen at Fox News. Also, you can find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications, and Abundance Television, which is found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Again, thank you so much for watching. You know, you can send an email anytime you want to. The email address is donna@donnasedge.com, and I do read everything. I even check the spam folder just to make sure I don't miss out on any of those awesome messages that you're sending out there. A lot of you are talking about how do you deal with toxic people, toxic behavior, narcissists, that kind of stuff. Apparently it's everywhere. I don't know if we have more, and I questioned an authority about that one day. I said, is it if there are more toxic people? Are there more narcissists? Or is it just that we're more aware of it now? You know, things we used to not pay any attention to, and it could be family members or co-workers or whatever. And now it's all out there in the forefront. So I found an article, and this, you know, you've listened to me about this one before. This is the healthline.com. I definitely trust this website right here. So they have an article that's called Do's and Don'ts for Dealing with Toxic Behavior. But before we get started with that about how to, let's talk about why it is and how this whole thing is started. Why does somebody turn toxic? Are they born that way? I mean, what's the deal? So dealing with a toxic person can be mentally draining, I know, but employing certain communication techniques can help you to protect your boundaries. Could be relatives, and you have to be around them. So we need to know how to do that, how to deal with it so that it doesn't affect our health, okay? So we all know that person, the one who leaves you feeling worse off after interacting with them. Maybe it's a manipulative family member or a coworker who can't stop complaining about every little thing. It's common to refer to these people as being toxic. You know, we talk about toxic food. We just had a show about that, you know, and how to take the toxins out of our body. Let's talk about how to take the toxic people out of our brain. And that's sometimes they rent space in our brain. We don't need to let them do that. But it's important to keep in mind that this term isn't grounded in psychology and doesn't have a simple definition. So if you have a hard time dealing with someone in your life, it's helpful to start by pinpointing their problematic behaviors rather than simply labeling them as toxic. So Barry Sukind is a therapist in Los Angeles who specializes in relationships, shares some key signs of toxicity. So this can be self-absorption or self-centeredness, manipulation or other emotional abuse. That can be dishonesty and deceit, difficulty offering compassion to others is always about them, a tendency to create drama or conflict. Sound familiar? Okay, let's find out how we can avoid this, okay? Or at least learn how to deal with it. Now, this is number one. I think this is really important. Avoid playing into their reality. They have a total different world than you do. Some people have a tendency to see themselves as the victim in every situation. If they mess up, they might shift the blame to someone else or tell a story that paints them in a more positive light. You might feel tempted to nod and smile in order to prevent an angry outburst. Now, this might feel like the safest option, but it's not. It encourages them to see you as a supporter. So try respectful disagreement instead. You might say, I have a different take on the situation, and describe what really happened. Stick to the facts without making accusations, because you'll be World War III. So be really careful how you do this. Now, while your disagreement might upset them, it might also lower the chances they'll try involving you again. It may take several tries, but finally they'll get the point and they'll stop involving you in all these crazy antics. Don't get drawn in. Oh boy. How many times we've all done that, right? Dealing with someone's toxic behavior can be exhausting. This person might constantly complain about others, always have a new story about unfair treatment, or even accuse you of wrongdoing or not caring about their needs. So Just resist the urge to jump on the complaining train with them or defend yourself against accusations. Instead, respond with simply saying, I'm sorry you feel that way. Don't say another word. The more you say, the more they can use against you. The more you say, the more you can get drawn into their crazy world. Pay attention to how they make you feel. This is really important. Sometimes simply becoming more aware of how someone's toxic behavior affects you can help you better navigate interactions with them. Most people occasionally say rude or hurtful things they don't mean. I mean, how many times have you been caught up in the moment? You're busy doing something, somebody comes over and you say something you shouldn't say and you can't get it back in your mouth. We all do that from time to time. No one feels best all the time. Okay, and being in a bad mood can make you lash out. This isn't necessarily toxic behavior, but ask yourself, if put downs, lies, and other types of emotional and verbal abuse characterize most of your interactions, do they apologize or seem to notice how what they say or do affects you, or do they just go on about their own business? Personal struggles don't excuse abuse, and you don't have to accept it either. There's my cat. Yeah, he's the mascot. He's trying to be a good boy. Okay, settle down, go back to sleep again. Okay, by the way, if you have a toxic neighbor or a toxic whoever in your life, having a pet helps, I promise you. Okay, talk to them about their behavior. Someone who gossips, manipulates others, or creates dramatic situations might not realize how their behavior affects you or anyone else. An open conversation may help them realize this behavior is unacceptable. To keep things neutral, try to stick to I statements, which feel less accusatory for the other person, and set boundaries that work for you. Okay, here are some good examples right here of this action. I feel uncomfortable when I hear unkind things about our coworkers. I won't participate in these conversations. Don't say another word. Even a narcissist will get it. I mean, you have to say it several times, but anyway, even they'll get it. Here's another one. I value trust and friendship, so I can't continue this friendship if you lie to me again. And just be very direct and don't say another word. You know, sometimes when somebody does something to us, or maybe they're talking about a coworker, they're spreading lies. Sometimes you think you have to say that, then you have to explain yourself. You don't have to explain yourself. Okay, I went through years of doing that with a family member. They'll never get it. So just be very, very, very quick, very blunt. Don't say another word, because what's going to happen is they're going to draw you into their world, and again, you don't want them inside your head. Put yourself first. This is something that's hard for us to do. That's why manipulators and toxic people, they try to find people they think are kind and people who won't say anything back to them, and they think that that's going to be a win-win for them. So let's see what they say. On the flip side, behavior doesn't have to be abuse or spiteful to be toxic. Other behaviors can just be as damaging. So maybe the person in question desperately needs your help to get them out of a bind every time you see them. They're always wanting to borrow money, or they're always, I've got to have somebody to do this for me, blah, blah, blah. You're always giving and they're always taking. Oh, that's hard. Or you feel like their emotional stability depends on you. You might value your relationship with this person, but don't offer support at the risk of your own well-being. Healthy relationships do involve give and take. It can't be you're doing all the giving. And it's just that simple. Okay? And then it also says this may not happen when you're giving everything to someone who doesn't offer anything in return. We all have a family member who's that way. We all have a coworker who's that way. Just quit giving them everything. That's all I can say. Okay, offer compassion, but don't try to fix them. You got to remember this, okay? People can only fix themselves. It has nothing to do with you. It's not that way at all. They have to fix themselves. Okay, a lot of us want to go out there and be the Joan of Arc. We want to go out there and save the world. You can't save people. They have to want to change. Now, people can change, but they have to be willing to put the work in it to do it, okay? You might want to help someone you care about instead of writing them completely out of your life. But while you can always offer compassion and kindness, you won't be able to change them. There, I've said it the fourth time. It's true, though. At the end of the day, they have to commit to putting in the effort. Trying to help someone change before they're ready can sap your emotional resources further. I'm telling you, it will do it. Say no and walk away. Okay, have a hard time turning people down? You aren't alone. Sticking to a refusal can also be tough, especially when someone tries to guilt trip you into changing your mind. But if you do decide to say no, don't back down. This may prove challenging, especially when they use a dramatic outburst to try to get their way. We all know those. But the more you practice saying no, don't explain yourself, just say no to things you aren't comfortable with, the easier it becomes. Removing yourself from the situation can help you avoid scenes. If you can't physically leave, make it clear you're no longer involved in the discussion. Say, "Excuse me," and turn away, for example. I want you to remember that you aren't at fault. Toxic behavior can make you feel like you did something wrong, even when you know you didn't. It's tough to face attacks from someone who behaves in a toxic manner. They might get personal, try to twist your words, or excuse you of wanting to hurt them. At some point, you might even second guess yourself and just rack your brain for something you might have done. Several of us have done that. You've sent me messages about that. You're like, what did I do? And I've asked Phil several times, what did I do to this person? And Phil said, nothing. You're just there. But remind yourself their behavior has nothing to do with you. This helped me right here. So restate your boundaries and try not to take their spite personally. Take deep breaths to calm yourself or mindfully acknowledge their words so you can let them go without being affected. We're going to have to go into a commercial break, and I promise we'll get right back to this really, really popular topic. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
Twin City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you. The Hatter Cafe and Country Inn is nestled in the northeast corner of Alabama the Beautiful in the delightful town of Mentone. We're located on top of scenic Lookout Mountain near Little River and DeSoto State Park and located only 5 minutes from shopping and restaurants. There is also a nearby community walking path and golf course. We welcome everyone through the doors, and we are committed to outstanding service for all guests. At the Hatter Cafe and Country Inn, we invite people from all walks of life to come and get away from it all, enjoy the open spaces, treetop views, fresh, clean air, and experience Southern hospitality at its finest. We look forward to hosting you. To reserve a special event, or if you would love a special getaway at the Country Inn, you can call us at 256-634-2018.
Are you ready?
We all wonder what tomorrow will bring, but the future lays itself at the feet of the prepared and surrenders to the will of the persistent. It's not easy, but today shapes you so you can shape tomorrow. With Northeast Alabama Community College, when the future asks if you're ready, you can answer.
Yes.
Begin your future at Northeast Alabama Community College.
The only place I buy my beef is Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama. Their cattle is born and raised on their ranch, grass and grain fed, and you can feel confident when you serve your family and friends because their beef is all natural and no antibiotics or hormones are added. You can buy whole beef or perhaps go in with family or friends and buy half. Their customer service is number one as they take care of the delivery to their local processor and can deliver to your home for a small added fee. They also offer herd replacement heifers. I always call Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama for my beef specialty recipes and cookouts, and you can too. Food shortages are increasing, so buy local by calling 256-523-6462. That's 256-523-6462.
Donna's Designs offers a line of handmade memorial, wedding, and keepsake jewelry that launched back in 1970. I'm a self-trained jewelry designer, and I will work closely with you to create unique designs you can love and treasure for years to come. Whether that be flowers that were used in a funeral arrangement or stones you found on the beach at a memorable trip, call me at 256-659-4319, and let's think of the possibilities.
At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant.
Okay, so we're back. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show. Thank you so much for watching every day, beginning at 1 p.m. Truth matters here, and I do receive your emails. My email address, if you would like to send one, Donna at donnasedge.com. If you have any ideas for topics, a lot of you are sending me. You want to know about narcissism, you want to know about toxic people, and oh boy, I think everybody on earth has at least one toxic person in their life. So understanding it and just kind of getting information about, why are they that way? You'll never know why, but what are some of the ways that you can know someone is toxic? And we're talking about that right now. So we were just talking about, right before we went into a break, remember, you're not at fault. Sometimes people just want to drag you in. The least you say, the better. I'm just telling you, the least is best. Okay, now, make yourself unavailable. Are you always there for this toxic person? People who act in a toxic way often sense who they can manipulate. Okay, so this good friend of mine, Rick Staines, he's on the show at least once a month, and he is a security specialist. And this is something Rick brought to my mind a long time ago. He's been on my show since the year 2005. And so one of the first shows he said, the way you carry yourself it could be a matter of whether somebody tries to attack you or not when you're out in the open. And he was talking about like going to malls and going to, like your Walmarts and places like that. And he said, if you walk around like the world is on my shoulder and you're just all kind of bowed down like this, he said, you're going to be more likely to be attacked than someone who walks straight up and they have a purpose in life. They walk with a purpose. He said, because here's what will happen. You got a purpose in your life. You're walking straight. You got a place you're going to go to. You got a destiny. You're going to be at this place in just a few minutes. They're not going to mess with you. But now if they figure there's any kind of weakness at all about you in the way you hold yourself and the way you walk, you're a prime candidate. Okay, so make yourself unavailable. Let's talk about this one. People who act in a toxic way can often sense who they can manipulate. That's like we were talking about what Rick always says. They may move on when they see their tactics don't work on you. If you're never available, they might eventually stop trying to engage. This strategy may be particularly helpful at work where you're bound to have plenty of honest excuses like, sorry, I have too much work to chat. Don't say another word. This is what you got. The least you say to a narcissist or to a toxic person, the better off you're going to be. Okay, got to prep for that meeting, so I can't talk. And then just don't say another word. You might face some passive aggressive remarks or outright accusations when you make your excuses. Try not to respond, even if you feel upset. Remember, it's not about you. They got the issue, not you. Okay? Limit your time together. Okay, do you dread seeing a particular person? Do you feel anxious or stressed beforehand? Take these feelings as a sign you may want to see them less. People who behave with toxic tendencies tend to focus on themselves and what they want. They might blame you or other people for any problems they have and show very little interest in your feelings or needs. This can make time spending with them very unpleasant. I know I've talked with someone about an issue one time, and I quit talking to them because they started talking about their issues, and actually they wanted to talk to me. So they wanted me to open up to and I'm glad I didn't, because this person wound up being a very toxic person. They would have probably spread everything and added to it. So just watch out for those signs. If you're dealing with someone who picks fights with you or repeatedly pushes your boundaries, consider scaling back the amount of time you spend with them. Now, when you can't avoid the person, and we've all been through these people, it's usually family members, you still have options. So what you can do is set boundaries. Boundaries are essential. Okay, setting boundaries involves deciding what you will and won't tolerate. Communicate these boundaries clearly and stick to them. Sometimes maybe you just don't mind listening to your co-workers' dramatic stories, or even obvious fictional ones. Usually they're making stuff up. But you can draw your line at verbal abuse or gossip. Gossip is the absolute worst. I mean, because let me tell you something. You listen to somebody's gossip, if you sit there and listen to it, even if you're not listening to it and you're just pretending to be listening to it, they're going to say you said something. They're going to drag you into this situation. Before you know, there's somebody who's mad at you and you don't know why. It's probably because they drew you into their world. Okay, now, when they start mocking another coworker, like I said, I'm not interested in this type of conversation. Leave the room if you can and try putting on headphones. You can always try to do that. Now, have an exit strategy. Yeah, how do you do it? How do you get away? Okay, if you're stuck in a toxic conversation and you don't see an easy way out, you might worry that leaving seems rude, especially if you're talking to a supervisor that could be toxic. But it's entirely possible to leave politely. If it helps, consider coming up with a few go-to lines ahead of time so you can pull those out as you need to. Try something like, I'm sorry, but I have to stop you. I've got a lot of work to do, so I can't chat right now. Or, sorry, I'm waiting on an important phone call, and I can't get into this right now. That's a great way to do it too. Okay, you can change your routine. So, does a family member always catch you when you're studying or hold you up on your way to work? Maybe a coworker always complains at lunch about how horribly everyone treats them. Okay, so ideally they respect the boundaries you set, but it doesn't always happen. While it may not seem fair that you're the one who has to change, it's often worth it for your own well-being. Now, again, I found this information right here on healthline.com, because I'm telling you, these toxic people can make you sick to your stomach if you're not careful. Healthline.com. Switching up your routine can also help you avoid getting pulled into conversations you just rather skip. Trading lunch somewhere besides the break room, wearing headphones, or reading a book. If you got headphones on and somebody tries to talk to you, you can look at them and go, like you're book, really neat book I'm listening to, something like that. Or just read a book and just keep reading and just look at the person and smile and then just keep reading your book. It's a great way to get rid of them. You're reading your book, you look at them and smile, and then just keep reading your book. It's the best way to do it. Okay. Avoiding family members can be harder. Yeah, it is. Try having a respectful but firm conversation about needing to focus on your studies. If you're on the way out the door, practice your quick exit strategy. Sorry, I'm late. And then leave. Okay, encourage them to get help. It's often difficult to understand why people behave in toxic ways, but it might help to consider that they might be dealing with some personal challenges that are causing them to lash out. This doesn't excuse problematic behavior, but it can help to explain it. Now, if you have a close relationship with someone who behaves in a toxic way, consider pointing out some harmful behaviors and explaining how they can affect others if you feel uncomfortable doing so. Now, they may seem receptive. Encourage them to talk to a therapist about why they act the way they do. Okay, psychotherapy can help people identify problematic behaviors and learn to manage their emotions and reactions in healthier ways. Now, don't get personal, okay? So, what's recommended is you keep interactions with the other person superficial. Be clear about how you are and aren't willing to engage. Toxic behavior can involve gossiping, and they're going to drag you in it now, oversharing personal details, or using personal information to provoke reactions. If you know someone who does these things, keep your conversations light and insignificant. Shut down attempts at prying or oversharing with, actually, I prefer not to talk about my relationship at work. First of all, if you work, you need to be working, right? The employer is paying you to do a job. You're taking away you're stealing time from your employer. I've said this before. You know what? We're stealing time from our employer. I've said that before. So that's a good way right there. Maintain calm. Oh, I know it's hard to do. You might wonder how it's possible to stay calm around the other person when just thinking about crossing paths makes your heart pound. Stay grounded. Next time you feel anxious in an interaction, try grounding yourself with these tips. Breathe slowly and deeply. Try relaxing your muscles instead of tensing them. Let the words wash over you and silently repeat a calming mantra. Distract yourself if the situation allows. Doodle, fidget with an option, or close your eyes and visualize your favorite place. You can also go see a therapist if you'd like. And here's the bottom line. Sometimes cutting people out of your life may seem like the only way to escape their toxic behavior, but isn't always feasible. If you have to spend time with someone who exhibits toxic behavior, remind yourself their actions aren't your fault, nor are they your responsibility. It's important they know what you're not willing to tolerate. Absolutely. Again, this is a wonderful website. You can find all kinds of great information. It's healthline.com. Healthline.com. Thank you so much for watching. You make my day. You can find Donna's Edge every day, 1 p.m., Donna's Edge Talk Show. And if you would like to send email, just, any kind of thing, you want to shoot the breeze with me, that's fine. If you would like another show topic like this one, a lot of you are asking for these types of shows. And I'm getting more. I've been doing a lot of studying on that for you as well. And but again, it's so good to be with you. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the day.